Israel has no choice. They have no choice. They have no option here but to eliminate Hamas. Israel cannot stop until this job is done. And America's job is to supply them with what they need to get that job done.
So that is Marco Rubio not long ago saying that Israel has no choice, which is what you say when you want them to make the bad choice. And you don't want to say exactly what that is. So you imply that it's all inevitable. And then you also frame the choice they're making in an incredibly false way. Him saying they have no choice but to eliminate Hamas. Why don't you say what's actually happening if you find it to be so acceptable and so inevitable? It seems like you want to hide behind, oh, obviously a terrorist group's got to be taken out. But anyway, the reason we're talking about Marco Rubio is not only because he's an apologist for the genocide of the Palestinian people, it's because he might well be in charge of it soon. He's apparently going to be the next Secretary of State. Now, all of this is early. It can be changed. Donald Trump is mercurial by nature. But bear in mind, not only is the Republican Senate likely to give him whoever he actually nominates before the full Senate, but they're also talking about doing recess appointments. So even if he would have put forward someone wholly unqualified, they're likely to make it on anyway. And on top of the video where I showed you, if you're curious about what's going to happen with Gaza, bear in mind, Marco Rubio also recently tweeted just 3 days ago, a ceasefire right now would prolong the war. Hamas would use it to steal humanitarian aid, move their fighters to better fighting positions, move hostages to new hiding places, and arm their rocket launchers for attacks inside Israel. So obviously the death of civilians must continue. Anyway, obviously if he is, Secretary of State, it's going to affect more issues than just Gaza, but I just wanted to give you an idea of who he is, what he's been advocating for. Garrison, what do you make of the potential next Secretary of State?
I'm really saddened that the Palestinian people have been used as a political football this cycle in ways that have been totally unproductive for the conversation. I don't fault people for having their issue with the Biden-Harris administration and making the decision that they made. But it's becoming increasingly clear that there is no reprieve. There will be no safety in a Trump administration. One of the things that stands out to me about this announcement of Marco Rubio is that it took place on November 11th, which is exactly 1 month to the day before they announced the Secretary of State in 2017, or actually 2 months. I take that back. It was January 11th, 2017 that Trump announced his pick for Secretary of State during his first term when he was president-elect back in 2016 and 2017. And I bring this up because what's kind of ringing for me is that they are much more prepared to carry out their agenda today than they were the last time they were elected. And that feels significant in many, many ways around what they'll actually get done. And it wouldn't surprise me if more destruction was a part of that plan for the people of Gaza.
I agree. I think you're 100% right. I think, even people like Steve Mnuchin, who was obviously involved in the cabinet, involved in the transition last time, he's saying it's a wholly different thing. They're way more prepared. Like, we shouldn't be surprised. We were talking about Project 2025 and how it was supposed to get the ball rolling. And that's all good. And every right winger is going to be super excited about this. They get what they want. They get it faster. I just think they should bear in mind that what you want being done at a faster pace when it's going to be wildly unpopular might not work out for you that much. It's certainly not going to work out for the Palestinian people. And also, I just want to throw out before we move on to other candidates, there's a lot of words that I have an issue with. The way people like throw around like war hawk, like they're all saying on the right, like Donald Trump Jr., like we can throw up this thing. He's involved in choosing these people. And he's like, we're not going to have any war hawks. And that only is supposed to mean you don't start new wars. Well, it means you don't start new wars except possibly invading Mexico. That's free. You can do that and not be a war hawk. But like what you can do is just cross your arms and watch as the people are annihilated rather than stopping it. And that doesn't make you a war hawk. Watching Ukraine be conquered and its people devastated does not make you a war hawk. Being fine with all of this and doing nothing to stop it doesn't make you a war hawk. And I think it's a failure of imagination. I think that a dovish, peace-loving movement deserves more than just not launching new wars. I think ceasing the ones we already support should be a part of it. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.